Hey, folks, welcome to Grab a Stack of Rock, and may I present my special guests tonight, Harrison Kopp and Peter Kerr from Rock Daydream Nation. How are you doing tonight, guys?
Going well, going well.
Excellent, excellent.
Good.
I'm experimenting with some different layout stuff tonight, so that's why there is a QR code next to Harrison's head, and that will take you to my blog, mikeladano.com. We're just playing around and having some fun here. It is December the 26th here in Canada. It's the 27th in Australia. How are you guys doing? How's the future?
Recovering from a lot of imbibing in food and drink and everything that's Christmas. So a bit of a recovery mode, but all good, all good.
And you, Harrison?
The future is strangely, it's very much like a Saturday morning. I don't know why that could be.
Yes, it is. That's why.
Excellent. We have new viewer Timothy in the house. How are you doing, Timothy? Good to see you. We have Henry Wright and Jake, not from State Farm as well. And gentlemen, we are gathered here tonight to discuss our Christmas hauls. And I have lots of new music to talk about, some other cool stuff. I figure we'll do 3 rounds. We usually do 3 rounds. That usually takes us, a little over an hour to do that. How does that sound to you guys?
All good.
Okay.
Yeah, I can stretch it out.
You can stretch it out. Well, if you don't have enough to stretch it out, that's fine. As I have some extra stuff. I'm not going to show the stuff that we saw in the little teaser in the opening. That was just a red herring. I didn't know what the heck I was getting for Christmas. I had to put something in there, but I got some cool stuff. Anything you guys want to say before we dive into the new tunes?
Oh, looked pumped up for 2026. 2025 was a huge year. Lots of things happening. So onwards and upwards. 2026, looking forward to it.
Yeah, I think we'll touch on that maybe before we head out. But there's some cool tours coming in 2026. We got Triumph coming back, and we have Iron Maiden continuing to tour. And anyway, there's a lot to talk about for 2026. But let's talk about what happened this week.
Yes,
Merry Christmas, gentlemen. Harrison, did you want to get us rolling with something new from your collection?
All right, so this first round is stuff that I didn't buy for Christmas, but arrived like the week before Christmas, so I'm going to include it here. The first is the deluxe edition of Reckless by Bryan Adams, which I specifically bought because it's a 2 CD set, which comes with a bonus live show from Hammersmith 1985, which was hard to say no to. And the original album itself has 7 bonus tracks on there as well, all these studio stuff, including a title track, which didn't make it onto the album back in the day.
Well, Mike, there's a show coming up on Rock Daydream Nation in 2026 called Out of My Comfort Zone. And Mike and I are going to be actually talking about that album. So stay tuned sometime in 2026.
I bought this version specifically because Tim said the bonus 7 tracks is like having a whole other album from the era. So yeah, sold. And Timothy, that's a good set. I actually have the 6-disc version from Japan. We showed that off on a couple of episodes in past years, but that's a great collection. Sorry, Harrison.
No, it's all good. So the next thing is this strangely artworked and strangely titled Fleetwood Mac bootleg by the name of Leather and Lace Live. This is from the Tango in the Night tour, California 1987. There's only 15 tracks listed on the back, but you actually do get Brown Eyes as well. It's got a lot of stuff from the Tango in the Night tour, plus some of their classic songs and some of their older songs that they brought out for Rick Vito and Billy Burnett to sing, because this is the tour that Buckingham left the band and they had to get a couple of extra guys in. But Tango in the Night is one of my favorite Fleetwood Mac albums, so I always wanted an audio version to listen to. Good quality on here as well. They also perform a couple Stevie Nicks solo tracks like Stand Back and one called Has Anyone Written Anything For You?
Just want to say hi to Joey Suto in the house, but I think he's got the wrong nickname. I don't know if I've ever heard Peter Kerr call himself the Professor. I don't think that's ever happened.
No, that's the first.
I think Sydney might understand. Nice conversation going on here in the comments. Harrison, did you say that was a gift?
No, I got that.
Okay.
These are things that arrived just before Christmas, basically. So I bought these.
Okay, gifts to yourself. Gotcha. I was going to say somebody really knows how to shop for you if that was a gift.
Oh, no. More on that later. So the last thing for this round is that not music, but they finally put this out on home media. They finally recently put it out on home media, and I had to get it because it's funny. It's very funny.
I don't want to go off on a tangent, but I also really like the new Liam Neeson version of The Naked Gun. I should write a review of it because I really liked it. Great one, Harrison.
Yes. Some great jokes in this set one.
I remember it very well.
The only TV show that was cancelled for being too smart because viewers had to pay attention to understand it.
Very true. And that's round one?
Yes, indeed.
All right, Peter. How did Santa treat you?
Santa treated me well because a lot of the presents I'm going to be showcasing are presents to myself, because I've got a tradition with my friends that, you know, your spouses and your relatives, they sometimes get it a little bit wrong. So why don't you just gift yourself, wrap it up, take it out under the tree, and you're always 100% spot on. But this one, my wife did buy me, and it is bang on. Now, who was the most busiest remixer in the last 12 months? Stephen Wilson. He has got his finger in everything. Jethro Tull, Frankie Goes to Hollywood, Rolling Stones, Deep Purple. This album, Rolling Stones, I don't think they did a dud album in the 70s, and this is the remastered, remixed Black and Blue. This is one of my favorite album covers of all time. I can only just guess what keeps whispering in you know, Mick's ear, but it's not too favorable. And there you go. Now, the thing about this album is got all the tracks that have been sort of remixed, and the big hits were Miss You and Fool to Cry. But this one has a bonus disc, and it's got, if you can see it, jams with Howie Mandel and also Jeff Beck. I haven't played this yet, folks, so I'm really looking forward to it. But, yeah, interesting. So apparently there's tons of stuff in the Rolling Stones vault. They're very, very frugal with what they release, and anything they release from the vaults is welcome from Rolling Stones fans. But I'm looking forward to listening to that album, because anything in the 70s that's Rolling Stones is just thumbs up from me.
I didn't know they remixed that album. I thought it was just a...
I didn't know that album existed.
Yeah, 1976. So this is the album where they were auditioning guitarists. So Mick Taylor had left the band, and they got Ron Wood, but he was sort of like in training at his training wheels, and they, you know, it was kind of a bit of a ruse. They got all these guitarists to do an audition, and they were making the album at the same time. So under the premise, we're auditioning, but they ended up on the album, in whether they're in, you know, sort of whether it got released or not. And at the end of the day, they clicked with Ron Wood, and he's there to this day. And I think it's a lot of people sort of think it's like a middling Rolling Stone. I rate it quite highly, so it's worth checking out.
You know, Kiss did an album like that, except they called it Creatures of the Night. Oh, and I did hear about this today. Rest in peace to the Cures guitarist Perry Bamonte. I don't know if I said that right. Who passed away at the age of 65. Far too young. Far too young.
Yeah, very sad.
A good pick. Like I said, though, I had no idea that was remixed. I thought that was a straight remaster, so that's cool.
Yeah, just the Stephen Wilson magic, and might be talking about Stephen Wilson more coming later in the show.
Yeah. This is a bit dark humor, but my father says that he judges when people die. He judges whether it's too young or not, depending on how close their age is to his. You know, someone who's 65 would be, oh dear, that's way too young. Someone who's 90 is like, yeah, that's not too bad.
Yeah, I confess that is true. That is how we think.
Or in Australia, we say if you hit your 90s, you had a good innings. That's a cricket type of analogy.
That's funny. Do you have more? Do you want to keep going?
No, I think.
Okay.
Oh, actually, I will. I will. So, went to my local record store about a week or two before Christmas, and again, this goes into the category of buying yourself a present.
Mm-hmm.
And I picked up this on vinyl. I've never seen this before. Autograph, sign in, please, from 1984. This is a first pressing on a German. It's a German first pressing. It's in mint condition on the old RCA label. Very shiny. I can't praise this album enough. I think this is terribly underrated. It's kind of, I would describe it as pop metal. Turn Up the Radio is just perfect pop metal. It's so hooky. It was a bit of a minor hit in the States. And I think the songwriting on this album of Steve Plunkett is really, really strong. So they just got signed to a shitty label. They were supporting Van Halen, and Van Halen were quite mean to them. They would turn on the house lights. They would give them a quarter of the stage. They were just playing all sorts. I think they were one of those support bands that everything was against them. They lasted about 2 or 3 albums post this, but they should have been much bigger because they had the pop smarts. But Turn Up the Radio, that's their gift, and I can't stop playing it. I love it. I just think it's just so hooky. Do you guys like that song?
I love Autograph. I'm missing that album. I don't have that album. But when I was a kid, Turn Up the Radio was a huge video hit because they had a very high budget video for it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think they had a bit of
slightly Tron, wasn't it? It was like Tron.
Yes, it had that kind of visual. And in the 2000s, my understanding is they had a little bit of resurgence in the gamer community because I think, if I remember correctly, Turn Up the Radio was used in one of the Grand Theft Auto video games as one of the radios. If you tune into the Hard Rock radio station, that's one of the songs you get. So a lot of people from a younger generation actually know that song now.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Absolutely.
Well, that's a nice find, Peter. That is the one that I would be very jealous of because I do need that album. He's got some soundtracks coming his way. And some Lego. Well done, Jake. I did not get any Lego. Singer died? No, the drummer died, Kenny. And I think the guitar player or somebody else died too. Kenny Richards.
I don't think there's too many left.
No.
Steve Plunkett's still alive, but there's this band there's an Autograph band that was going around, and there was, I think it was next to no original members. And it got into that, there was a lawsuit where they were suing Steve Plunkett or vice versa. So you got to protect your brand. You got to protect your trademark.
You do.
Yeah.
Too many of these bands where there's 2 versions going out with, one member from this lineup and one member from another.
And then there's the Quiet Riot special when you try to edit the history.
We're not going to go there today, Harrison.
I think the worst one is Little River Band, LRB, where the original members, based in Australia, can't even use LRB. So it was like some bass player that played studio work on one of their albums and, registered the trademark name, and they're playing it from ever since. And, the originals can't even use their real name. It's just wrong.
There's 2 Alcatrazes, I think, right now, too. That's another one.
Oh, isn't that getting a lot of airplay on Blabbermouth at the moment?
It is.
Does Graham Bonnet sing, or is he miming? I saw him, and I think he actually does sing.
Yeah.
Because he was
it's not his vocals that I think, it's the backing vocals sound weirdly processed, I think, at least on the one they released from their new live album.
All right. So I have 3 rounds myself. I'm going to do the first round here is all music that I got as gifts and other sorted gifts that I got. I'll start with this. My music t-shirt of the day was given to me by my sister, Dr. Catherine. It's the 5 Neat Guys. Now, I'm sure you guys, being Australian, don't know who the 5 Neat Guys are, but there was a TV show in Canada in the 70s and the 80s called SCTV, Second City Television, and it was basically the Canadian equivalent to Saturday Night Live. And on that show, they had TV ads, and one of them was for compilations albums by the 5 Neat Guys. That's John Candy over on this side, Joe Flaherty, Eugene Levy, Dave Thomas, and Rick Moranis as the 5 Neat Guys. And that is the shirt that Uncle Meat sent me a message saying, I want that shirt when he saw it. So thanks to Dr. Catherine for the 5 Neat Guys shirt. This is, I was absolutely thrilled. For music, and coming up, being reviewed on my blog tomorrow, I opened this up. This also came from Dr. Catherine, and I kind of laughed. I said, oh, great. And she says, it was on your wish list. I confess it was on my wish list. It wasn't on my wish list because I really expected to get it or that I even wanted it. It's because it was one of those bands I wanted to complete my collection of. And I played it today. I'll save my thoughts for tomorrow. But yeah, I have all the Motley Crue now, guys. Good for me. I have all the Motley Crue. And I feel sorry for you, Joey. Now, here's one I was just listening just before we went live. And, I have mixed feelings about this. It would be nice if there was a Van Halen tribute that was sort of an official Van Halen tribute, I think we all wish that there are certain things that could have happened but didn't happen. So it was left to Sammy to go out and do his thing. And it's basically, Sammy, it's Chickenfoot. It's Chickenfoot Live with a keyboard player.
So Van Halen, man.
Harrison, behave. There's one new song called Encore, Thank You, Good Night, and it's kind of a remembrance of Eddie, what it was like just seeing him standing there playing, knowing that it was one of those talents that you'll never see again. It's good. I like the set list for the most part. I think there's a little bit too much self-serving on here. I don't think Sammy Hagar needed to put Eagles Fly from his solo career on this. Moss Tequila, I don't think needs to be on this. Rock Candy, sure. It mostly concentrates on Van Hagar, but there's some David Lee Roth stuff too, such as Panama, There's Only One Way to Rock, and Ain't Talking About Love. They had to detune a lot of these songs so that, Sammy could sing them, but I don't know. 3.5 out of 5, I'll say. I haven't played this one yet, but I'm looking forward to it. Alice Cooper, Welcome to My Nightmare, live in 1975. 50 years of Welcome to My Nightmare. There is the track list there, but before you get too excited about how many tracks are on there, you'll notice some folks is on there, years ago is on there multiple times. I'm assuming it's a segue between songs. But there you go.
They all Keep Yourself Alive. Timpani solo, Keep Yourself Alive.
Right. Harrison, I'm assuming you haven't heard this yet.
No, I looked at the set list and I'm like, there's not enough interesting stuff on here for me to get it.
Anyway.
I've seen it. I'd get it, I think, just to be a completist.
Getting sick of these CD wallets, though. Getting sick of that. Because here's another one. If I had gotten this album in 2024 when it came out, it might have made my top albums of the year. I'm really impressed with this new Black Crowes. I was a Black Crowes skeptic. I didn't like the idea of Chris and Rich reuniting with, just Sven Pippian and nobody else, not Steve. Steve Gorman is integral to the Black Crowes, in my opinion. So I'm not really sure how I feel now, except that this really rocks. And I was also kind of skeptical because I'd heard that they were going, oh, we're gonna do that Shake Your Money Maker kind of sound, but that's not what this is at all. It's not just a rehash of Shake Your Money Maker. But because I'm the person I am, way back when it came out, I bought the RSD single for Wanting Waiting, featuring the B-side Morsels for Mongrels. And I always intended to get the album and then stick these all in one folder, so it's like I have the album and a bonus track. So thanks to thanks to Jen for giving me this album. And I finally opened up my Wanting Waiting single and finally played Morsels for Mongrels, even though I've had it since it came out in 2024. The last of the gifts, and the most important, this is important, is this right here. And my dad gave me this. This used to belong to my dad. It's kind of freaky when your dad starts passing on his belongings, but it's the sentiment that matters here, because this is one of his most prized possessions of all time. His personalized signed Johnny Cash photo from when they met Johnny Cash way back in, would have been the early 80s, 1980 maybe. To Dawn, best wishes, John Cash. And then there's another autograph here, John Cash. Signed it John Cash. And this was, I guess the story goes, my mom and dad, they met Johnny Cash, had their photos taken with him, but they didn't get anything signed. So this was actually a gift from somebody else who got it signed for my dad. So to Don Ladano, all best wishes. Thanks for all your help over the years, from John G. Power. And I went to see Johnny Cash with them. What happened was they went to see Johnny Cash. They loved it so much that they went back to the second night and they brought the entire family with them. So I actually did see Johnny Cash the following night. My mom and dad don't know where that photo is that they had taken with Johnny, but it would be out there somewhere. But this is pretty much the coolest gift you could get from anybody. I've seen it before because it was in my dad's, his safe for his safety deposit box or something like that. But now he's giving it to me, and that's pretty heavy, and that's pretty cool. And I imagine that it's going to stay back here for the foreseeable future, where it belongs. There we go. So, yeah, that's a pretty
Very
special
cool.
round.
Very
I just
cool.
want to catch up on the comments here. Yeah, Motley Crue is the first John 5 release. I will be commenting on that on my blog. I like John 5 just fine, but he's not Mick Mars, and Mick Mars had a.
What happened to John's 1 through 4?
This is, I don't want to get into this. I do, but I don't. I think Peter wanted to talk about this, and I think maybe why don't we do this right now? I know Peter wanted to talk about this, so let's do it right now. It's actually $225 a song in the United States, $300 a song everywhere else in the world. He's released a new single called Ride the Serpent, one song single. Peter.
Oh dear. Has this really shaken the internet over the last couple of days? I'm going to be a little bit contrarian. I think there's supply and demand. So if you're an artist, you can charge whatever you want. We as naysayers might say it's really ultra expensive, but if he has got a market out there and he can get away with it, good luck to him. But I think he can only get away with it once. So he has got a very feverish cult audience, Mike. And I think that there are a percentage of that cult audience that will actually dip into their wallets and buy that song. But when they listen to it and they hear how garagey it sounds, it doesn't sound professional. It's good to hearing Robert Fleischman because I've always liked his vocals, but it just sounds really kind of, I wouldn't say amateurish. It sounds unfinished. It sounds really rough. Mm-hmm. It sounds like it's like demo. People will get scared off, and I don't think they will go all the way and purchase song 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I think he'll clean up. It's going to be a little bit of a rock and roll swindle. He'll clean up with the first batch of how many singles he puts out for that first song. How many is it, Mike? It's a limited 2,000 or something?
500 US, 500 for the rest of the world, I think. So 1,000.
Yeah, no. How many units is he putting out? I think it's limited.
Yeah, no, I think it's 500 in the US and then 500 in the worldwide or something like that. So
yeah,
total.
I think he'll clean up with that. But when people hear the actual long song, they'll go, okay, that's enough, and it'll be diminishing returns for song 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Good luck to him. But yeah.
The only thing
what do you think?
I want to address this because I thought Vinny was really classless when he was interacting with his fans. One fan, with a very reasonable comment, questioned the need to sell a $200 CD, and he said, "I wish I could walk into a store and buy it for $18.99," which apparently really triggered Vinny. Really triggered him. So this is all. You can go on Facebook. You can find screenshots. He didn't do himself any favors, and I think Peter Criss, again, supply and demand. I think they oversold. I think they sold out of everything that they had pressed. Anyway, that's what I feel about Vinny. I've heard like the short version of the song, the 3.5-minute version of the song, and it didn't make me want to hear the 8-minute version.
It's rough, isn't it?
It's very rough. It's demo-y. Yeah. Joey used the word demo-y. You said it was rough. I agree. Yeah, and this as well. I think there's like 18 songs or something like that. So just I don't know.
But it's good hearing Robert Fleischman, isn't it? That's the best part
He
about the
sounded
song.
vintage. He sounded
Yes.
vintage. He sounded like nothing had changed since Boys Are Gonna Rock. So kudos to Robert Fleischman. He's obviously still got it. But I'm afraid Vinny needs an intervention. I don't know. I
tell you what, that guy, there's a great documentary somewhere to be made about him, because there's so much that has happened with this guy. I think somebody has got to get a documentary about him.
Yeah, and it'll blow people away when it happens.
Yeah. So one of my favorite hosts on Rockday Dream Nation, JB, yeah, he went to the KISS convention when Vinnie Vincent, out of nowhere, first time in years, made a comeback. And he described it that the oxygen in the room just left the building. Everyone went, oh, when they saw him for the first time in 20 years. It was just unbelievable. So,
and we had hope at that point that this was the start of the crest of something new. You were going to hear more from Vinny. Maybe he'd even play some gigs, but
people talk about him, Mike. People talk about him. He's like, when you look at the KISS story, he makes up about 3% or 4% of the whole story, doesn't he? But people keep talking about him.
He's an interesting character, is why. He's not only an insane talent, but he's an interesting character. But it's that talent mixed with the recluse in him. Makes people ask questions. And
could I just ask one more thing before we sort of go on? What's to say if somebody can't buy the singles, or somebody crowdfunds it and chips in and then siphons it off? I don't know. I've seen a lot of posts where people say, "Hey, why don't we all chip in and buy the single, and then we can put a little side business and stream it or something." I don't know. I wonder if people are.
It doesn't seem like a viable business model. Yeah. but it kind of reminds me of when you're kids and you can't necessarily afford to buy that video game, so you go splitsies on it with another kid in the neighborhood, and you get it on Monday, I get it on Tuesday, and alternating days. You can do that with it. Yeah, he's smoking something good, all right, that's for sure. And that's probably also true. Okay, so Harrison, it is now your turn for round 2.
All right, we're into Christmas things now, and much like Peter, I buy my own stuff. That's how I get what I want. And it's easy and simple that way. So there was a seller, and I was getting something from them, and then they had a couple other things that I had my eye on for a long time, and it all came up to the perfect number, like the exact budget that I was supposed to put on this sort of stuff, down to the dollar and the cents. So that was perfect. So the first one of those is, so 2024 was the year of Sabaton, and 2025 has been the year of Nightwish, and I'm rounding out the many Nightwish purchases I made this year with Imaginarium, there's no I in the back end. The second album with Annette Olsen, now I have both of them. And yeah, I like Annette. She's my favorite singer, so I've been meaning to get this for a while. Then, as I mentioned, I've been looking for this for a long time, but never sort of bit it. There was nothing that came along that was like, yeah, I got to get this now. But now it came. So Deep Purple, Cal Jam, 1974. One of the only video releases of the Mark III version of the band, if I recall correctly. This is a famous gig where Richie Blackmore attacks the camera with his guitar and smashes a lot of things, and there's fire and smoke and all sorts of things. But there's the class.
It looks wild because Glenn is wearing these platform shoes, and the fire literally like blows him towards the front of the stage, and it looks like he's balancing precariously on those shoes.
It blows Ian Pace's glasses off. They used kerosene. Really? They used kerosene. It wouldn't pass occupational health and safety, let me tell you. But there was all sorts of shenanigans going on. Glenn was coked off his head. David Coverdale had a check for $1 million in his jean pocket, and there was just all sorts of things. Richie got pissed off because basically it was in their contract that they were supposed to play When the Sun Went Down, which is the best time at a rock festival, when the sun's down for effect. And all the other bands like Sabbath, Seals and Croft had finished earlier. So they knocked on his trailer and said, Richie, come on, let's go. And it was like 5 o'clock and the sun was still up. And he said, nah, I'm not playing. So it was a Mexican standoff. He locked himself in the trailer, and they're going, dum, dum, dum. Come out, Richie, come out. And he wouldn't. They got their way, and he was just really pissed off. And they played at sundown, and the rest is magic. But so much stuff happened, and using gasoline on their amp rig and lighting it could have been a fatality. We might have been talking about the late great Ian Pace, not the great Ian Pace.
That would have changed the history books quite a bit. But yeah, that's a great one, Harrison. Fantastic.
Yeah. And so the last one is, once again, one I've been after for a long time, Judas Priest, Electric Eye. This is a compilation DVD, essentially. You've got the music videos, which I'm never going to watch, but then you've got Priest Live, which is the live concert from the Fuel for Life tour. It never got a standalone DVD release, and it's a phenomenal show. So that was mainly why I bought this, but you also get some BBC TV performances. Specifically, the one I'm most interested in is the old classic Rock-a-Roller live performance, because I love that song.
Yeah.
That's a great... I got
great
that 25 years ago. It's great.
Yeah, that came...
25 years ago, I was like 1 year old.
Yeah, that is a good one. I consider it their Visions of the Beast.
And
that's it for this round, Harrison?
Yes, indeed.
Okay, back to Peter.
Prince. Now, you know how I got you into Purple Rain? Prince did a little follow-up album after that called Around the World in a Day, and it's kind of like a anniversary, I think 40 years or so, and the box set came out. So I got the CD, which is the remastered album, but it also has bonus tracks, which come right out of the vault. So there it is. So Raspberry Beret, Around the World in a Day, Pop Life, all huge hits. And I'm looking forward to playing that. No Steve Wilson remix on this one. But on Record Store Day, I actually got a little box set of the singles. So all the singles in their original sort of artwork. And the reason why I like the singles is because they have B-sides that weren't on the album. So there you go. That's Raspberry Beret. Very Paisley album. This was like Prince's psychedelic album. There's Pop Life. I haven't played this yet. America. And The Tears in Your Eyes, which is a song that wasn't on the album. This is an unreleased track. So really looking forward to listening to this. So this was a very different album to Purple Rain, Mike. If you think of Purple Rain, this is kind of like Beatlesque, very late 60s, very Paisley orientated, but a lot of great pop songs and a little bit underrated. So there you go. The Prince. That's my Christmas present.
I love that Christmas present. I too bought a Christmas present. It has not arrived yet because I ordered it yesterday morning from Kiss Online, from the Kiss store. But in lieu of my Christmas present, I thought I would show off my Dress to Kill box set. If you're done, Peter.
I'm done.
Okay, well, let's take a look at this Dress to Kill box set. This is the first time we've seen it. So let's dive in. Here it is. And all of these Kiss box sets match beautifully. They all have the matting exactly as you see here. So I have this on display with my Creatures and my Destroyer, and they're a matching set. And Kiss Alive.
The old Judas Priest 2001 remasters style.
Yes, similar matting to that. Each one colored appropriately to the album. But some people reckon that this is their favorite Kiss album. We had a few comments about that in the last few weeks. And I got to say, I've listened to this box set 3 times now. And yeah, I like Dress to Kill quite a lot too. There's a lot in this box set. And a lot of the stuff I haven't actually opened out of their little baggies. But let's have a quick look here at some of the things you do get, including this gigantic hardcover book with the Electric Ladyland tape notes as the cover. Let's take a quick look inside. Look at that from the photo shoot, the cover photo shoot. And that's an iconic cover too. Lots of liner notes. Like I've listened to it, but I haven't gone to the depths of going into the box and reading all of this stuff. Because there's so much. There is so much. I want to make sure I don't damage anything. Okay. And then we have this odd thing. This odd thing contains a baggie of Kiss buttons that are lenticular. Yes, Harrison. Lenticular. See that? Oh, there you go. Kiss, Ace Rocks. Kiss, Ace Rocks. Ironic that this came out right before Ace died. Now, I wanted to ask you guys as I go through this stuff, what's your feeling on keeping stuff like this sealed within the box itself?
I think 100%. Why would you let it go freelance? I think if you are from a collector, I think you just keep it sealed.
A necktie. How cool is that? Buttons and a necktie in this. Now, there's nothing that identifies that necktie as Kiss, so I don't really see the point in wearing it. If it said Kiss on it, that would be different. We have this here. This is full of memorabilia. You know how these box sets work. We get these paper things that you'll probably look at once and never again. Posters that you don't even want to unfold, especially on camera, where you can mess them up. A sticker that'll never stick to anything. Patches that I will never put on a jacket. Backstage pass. Look at that. I might have even missed this the first time I went through this box set. That you'll never iron on anything. And I guess that leads to further questions, like about the value of box sets like this, because they charge you so much. This is like $270 or whatever. They charge you so much for stuff that I'm going to leave sealed in the baggie because I don't need a Kiss 1975 keychain. You know, I wouldn't want that getting scuffed up in my pants, you know. I like this little miniature Kiss license plate. That's cool, but what are you going to do with it? I could mount it on my wall behind here, but
yeah, I think you raise a very good point.
Coasters that I'll never use because why would I want to get coffee stains on them? And a couple more of these iron-on passes. So considering the amount that you're going to listen to the music and all the money that they charge you for the complete box set, which includes all of this paper stuff, and again, I'm not going to pull out everything because there's so much of it and you don't want to wreck it. It makes you question the value. But like I said, I've treated myself to a Christmas present and I bought Kiss Alive. Now this is excellent musically, like contents-wise, no qualms. There's a lot of repetition because you get a lot of those demos, you know, however many versions of Anything for My Baby, however many versions of Rock and Roll All Night. But a lot of these are interesting variations. There's one version of Rock and Roll All Night that has like a party atmosphere going on in the background, like people cheering, and it's almost distracting. It's so high in the mix that it's distracting. There's another version with persistent hand claps that go through the whole song. And it's kind of cool. You're liking it for the first minute, and then you're like, I can see why they mixed those out. There's tons of live stuff. There's 2 live shows on 3 CDs, and it's kind of like getting more of that Kiss Alive stuff that I'm going to get in the Kiss Alive box. It's really cool to hear the raw, untampered live tapes. And I can tell you, they didn't really need to tamper with those tapes to make them releasable as a live album. But what they did do is they created that immortal live album, Kiss Alive, out of all of these different elements that makes it the album that we always go back to listen to today. If they had just used a straight concert from one of these things, it wouldn't have been the same. But like I said, they're perfectly listenable on their own. So that is the Kiss Dressed to Kill box set. The Kiss Alive box set will be here in a couple of weeks. And I guess I'll have to show that off at some point too. But that was my present to myself before Christmas. And Kiss Alive is the one that comes after. So there you go. That's my round 2.
What would you give it out of as a presentation? Out of 5?
See, I'm not sure, because like you saw how beautiful it is, but then
it's a lot of knickknacks, isn't there?
A lot of knickknacks, right? So it's like, am I satisfied that I bought it? Is there the value that you expect compared to similar box sets that are out there at similar prices? Oh yeah, I think there's that. But we've reached this point now where we're accepting these high prices for these premium box sets that don't necessarily have the musical value that's equivalent to the dollar value, because at the end of the day, that stuff's just paper. Who gives a crap about the Ace Rocks button, except for Harrison, who likes lenticular stuff?
Yeah, but I don't like buttons, so it cancels itself out.
There was something else lenticular in there too, but I'm not going to open it up again. I think at the end of the day, Peter, it's fairly priced for what it is, but I think we've accepted too much now, and there's no going back. That box set should have been $150.
Scrap the knickknacks and get video footage, because there's lots of bootleg video footage that's coming out of the vaults that looks like it was properly filmed and even soundtracked with that era. And just put an extra disc. I'd pay the same price as what you're paying. Get rid of the knickknacks and add some video material.
And they easily could have done that, because there is a Blu-ray in there. The Blu-ray has a 5.1 mix of Dress to Kill, which is the only thing I haven't listened to yet. But yeah, you could easily stick a concert on there. Henry, there's not really much to tell about the Christmas dog, just that I was very sore. I'm still suffering from my dumpster dive injury, and the dog just comforted me on Christmas Eve night. And it just felt really good to have a dog to cuddle into. And that's the end of that story. Okay, they're having their own conversation here. I don't have Lifehouse. I would like to hear that one. I'm curious about that one. And it's just nice to see everybody in the comments. So that's my round 2, which I guess brings us to the final round with Harrison.
All right, so this is a box set. This is a big one. This is where most of my Christmas budget went this year. It's not music, but I got a really good deal on Black Friday. This is Air Crash Investigations, or Mayday, as it's known elsewhere, the Canadian show, the box set with the seasons 1 to 23, which is all the seasons you can get on DVD at the moment.
I've never heard of this show. You say it's a Canadian show?
Yeah.
Oh. And it's called Mayday?
Mayday / Air Crash Investigations, depending on the region. It's about plane crashes. Each episode is dedicated to one. They go through it. You get like a recreation of the events, like done with actors, and then there's a rundown of how the investigation was conducted and the overall cause and stuff. And so there are 64 DVDs in here.
Wow. Where'd you get that from, Harrison? JB Hi-Fi?
Yeah, I got it from JB Hi-Fi. I got it $75 off at Black Friday. It was very much a now or never thing, because something of this size was never going to be this many dollars off before. And the value is absolutely there across the 64 discs. And like, it was a case of, well, if I wanted to get each of these DVDs separately, it would cost me way too much, way much more than this. And it would take up more space. It would be much harder. So this was like, yep, I will get this.
Yeah, I don't envy you trying to put that in your bookcase and file it with other DVDs, because it's taken up a bit of real estate.
Can you hold it up again? So I saw that the DVDs are in that rectangular section. What's in the round section? Is it just for show?
Nothing. Yeah, but it's basically styled to resemble a black box flight recorder. So the round section is just fluff, more packaging fluff.
Got you. Okay.
That's insane.
Cool. I'm embarrassed to say I don't know this Canadian show. Oh, okay. Look at that.
Yeah, they're like a big music chain, or electrical music chain.
That's really cool.
Yeah. JB would be the only place in Australia that's like a sort of like chain store type of place that you can actually buy physical media from, because Sanity's all online now.
Yeah, but the music section's shrinking, Harrison. My local
store. It is. Every couple of months I go in there and it's like, boop.
CDs are like this now. It's all TVs.
Yeah, it used to be that every now and then I'd go in there and I'd see something really cool that like stick at a special import. It would also be priced like a special import, but yeah, you mainly just see like their Bob Dylan and their Taylor Swift is like this much. It's like huge, and then you got their Iron Maiden, it's like that, Black Sabbath like that, Alice Cooper like that. But you can buy everything that Bob Dylan ever released.
Now, Harrison, I'm going to suggest that you keep that as part of your backdrop when we do the Flight 666 episode of Iron Maiden.
Yes, I will find a way to get that in back there. I'll have a different angle on, yeah.
Well, that's a really cool find, Harrison, and I admire that, the uniqueness of that packaging, but I don't envy you trying to store that. That's unwieldy. Is that it for your third round?
That is indeed.
Well, bravo and Merry Christmas and well done to you. Peter, what do you want to close out on?
Close out. Look, I like pop music as well as metal and hard rock. So I've always got a bit of a soft spot for the sounds of a record label in UK called ZTT, and it was Trevor Horn. So Trevor Horn, you may know, played in Yes. He produced he was part of the Buggles and did all the main acts in that era, like ABC, etc. But there was one band that was like the biggest pop band in the world, briefly for 1984, and I'm talking about Frankie Goes to Hollywood, and put out an album called Welcome to the Pleasure Dome. So from a sonic point of view, this band is just outworldly. They had 3 #1 hits in the UK: Relax, Two Tribes, The Power of Love. And I think Welcome to the Pleasure Zone went top 10. And this has got the Stephen Wilson remix on Blu-ray, and it's just got demos and sessions, B-sides. It's over 7 discs. I played the Stephen Wilson Blu-ray. This guy is just, I mean, he does Deep Purple and then he does Frankie Goes to Hollywood. So whatever he's doing, he's just got the gift. And hearing that on Blu-ray with surround sound, like Relax and Two Tribes, I don't know, you know, to me, it's almost metal, but it's pop. It's so hard hitting. You hear the bass and the drums, and I know it's very much synthesizer, but it's so hard hitting. It sounds so fresh. And yeah.
Two Tribes is a heavy song, I think. Two Tribes is heavy.
Very heavy. And hear the bass line and Relax, that boom, 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 boom. You know, that's just, it's, you know, it's just perfect pop. So Welcome to the Pleasure Dome. And that's, I've been playing that and just really grooving on it.
Awesome. So I guess it's up to me to close it. I have stuff here that arrived in the mail, and that's the last of it. Stuff that arrived in the mail. And this came from a Canadian band, and we're going to open it right now. This is a band. Ooh, I think I just ripped their flyer. This is a band that I actually just saw some coverage out of South America from my friend Marcello Vieira. He just posted something about Atomic Train. Ah, crap, I ripped it. But let's have a look. Dear Mike, thank you so much for supporting Atomic Train. It means a lot to us. We hope you will enjoy this album, and thanks again for helping share our work with more listeners. We've also added another CD as a gift from Junior. We hope that you enjoy it as well. Wow. Cool. Okay, so this is like, I guess, heavy blues rock is what I would describe them as. They're starting to make some waves. I've seen them around on YouTube a little bit. I like their logo. There it is. I can't wait to give this a listen. And here's the bonus disc that he sent me. This looks like it is a solo release by the singer Junior. I don't see... Let's open it up and get some credits here so we can at least get the correct names of people. Oh, that's cool. I'm glad to finally have this. They can really play, these guys. There they are. Gives you a vibe kind of idea of what they sound like. And looking for some credits. Lead singer, Francois Babin. Lead guitar, Junior. Bussier. Bercier. I hate having to pronounce French names. Drums, Alexandre Guibault, and bass, Yves Malte. I hope I got that right. I probably butchered the names, and I apologize, guys. But thank you so much for sending me this disc. Yeah, I'm going to have to do a review. And thanks for this note that I accidentally ripped. Cool. Thanks a lot, Atomic Train. Oh, and as Harrison knows, I recently placed an order with one of my favorite Canadian bands, the Arkells, and they had an end-of-year T-shirt deal. 2 shirts for $20. They had like a random, you don't know what you're going to get, but you're going to get 2 shirts for $20. So I sat there and I scratched my head and I thought about the $40 Kiss shirt that came with my Dress to Kill box set that you didn't see. And I thought, $40 for 1 shirt from Kiss, 2 for $20 from the Arkells. I'd be stupid not to do this. So I finally pulled the trigger on that. And I also got their 7-inch single for Whistleblower at the same time. There's no exclusive B-sides on it. But one thing that is cool is that the cover art is painted by guitar player Mike DeAngelis. So that's a nice little touch there, is that you do get artwork by the band on the single. So that made that definitely worthwhile. I gave that a spin yesterday. And here are my 2 T-shirts. Well, you can tell that this one's been washed because it's inside out. Now, the Arkells are sports guys. I'm not so much a sports guy. So that hence the T-shirt there. They're from Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, and they're big Hamilton Tiger Cats fans. And this is from their big homecoming concert, The Rally, which they, I think they do them almost every year. They do these big outdoor concerts called The Rally with special guests. And this is another shirt from The Rally. So 2 shirts from a concert I didn't attend, but wish I attended. That's not so bad for $20. And I think that about wraps it up as far as our Christmas content goes. Anything else you guys want to show before we start to wrap it up for the night?
No, I think I'm all good.
Henry got into Frankie Goes to Hollywood because of Trevor Horn. He knew them from the 80s, but didn't get the CD. See, now I'm kind of curious about it too, because Peter's got me remembering 2 Tribes. I actually love the Buggles, Trevor Horn and Jeff Downs.
Age of Plastic, what a great album. First album.
I've always been curious about the Buggles, but I've never gotten anything. But well, that's the beauty, Henry, is that there's always time to explore more music. There you go, Age of Plastic. Yeah, lots of connections on that family tree. Well, Peter, I couldn't help but notice you've been a busy boy lately. You just recently interviewed Max Cavalera from Sepultura and Soulfly and numerous other projects. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, no, he was just such a chill character. Just interviewed him ahead of they're doing a January tour in Sydney, Brisbane, Melbourne with Soulfly. So I'll try to catch it. But I really dig that album that he put out this year. But no, he was just totally a really chill character, very friendly. And it was really interesting because the guy who got me the interview sent everybody on the interview list, please don't mention Sepultura, because that's a little bit of a sore point. So I was a bit worried. I was going to go, he could be a little bit prickly. But he brought up Sepultura in the interview anyway. But I was given strict instructions: do not talk about Sepultura. Only talk about Soulfly and his current projects. So that was interesting.
And you've also been doing other interviews. You had a Saxon one.
Yeah, Nigel Glockler, the drummer from Saxon, he was just such a joy to interview. So they're back on the road, and Biff is apparently, getting through the chemo. So they're laying down tracks for a new album, and they're touring Europe. And he was just so much fun to talk to. But I'd like to interview some other members of the band, and hopefully I'll get through to Biff eventually. He's not quite ready to take interviews, but Saxon, I've always liked them. They're just they're like Maiden. They just do the biz, And I really think that there's been they're increasing their popularity over the last couple of years because their last couple of albums have been really, really strong. Do you like them, Mike?
I only have one album, which is the first one.
Yep.
The first one's kind of mediocre, I would say, so I haven't really gone much further, and they didn't make much impact in Canada. So they're a band I probably need to explore some of the middle discography of.
Yeah.
Well, that's on Rock Daydream Nation, as you can see by his little name tag there. So if you're not subscribed to him yet, make sure you do so, because there's that content and a whole bunch more. He just did one on Who Do We Think We Are by Deep Purple, and he's always talking about a lot of these bands that we've seen tonight. So again, check out Peter at Rock Daydream Nation. Now, as far as Harrison and I go, we will be live again next week with a very, very special episode. We will have our friends from Blotto back on the show live next week. So I'm very excited to do that. We'll be talking about their year. They had a big one in 2025. So I'm really looking forward to catching up with the guys again. Anything you want to say, Harrison, about that?
No, nothing comes to mind.
Nothing comes to mind except for the fact that I'm just excited that they'll get to meet Harrison, who did some really awesome Lego art on Blotto. So that's 7:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time next week, January 2nd, our first show of the new year. So check out Rock Daydream Nation. Check us out next week. And of course, we will be back in the new year with 50 Years of Iron Maiden. In fact, I don't have it with me. We have a very special episode on the Early Days DVD as our first Iron Maiden episode of 2026. We roll on. We're not going to be done until like April at this rate. But thank you so much, Peter, for joining us. Happy New Year. I will see you in the new year. We have multiple projects planned already for the new year. And Harrison, will see you next week. All right. Well, take care, guys. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. And we'll see you real soon. Take care, everybody. Thanks for watching us on Grab a Stack of Rock. Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Friday night, we're rocking the races. Come and see familiar faces. Uncle Meat, Rob Daniels, Jon Snow. Gibby's here, it's the place to go. Grab a stack of rock with Mike and the band, metal band. Grab a stack of rock and hold on tight as hard as you can. T-Bone's here, it's time for a party. Come and see, got the comment started. Grab a stack of rock with Mike and the band, metal band. Grab a stack of rock and hold on tight as hard as you can. Grab a stack of rock. Grab a stack of rock with Mike and the band, metal band. Grab a stack of rock and hold on tight as hard as you can. Grab a stack of rock with Mike and the band, metal band. Grab a stack of rock and hold on tight as hard as you can. Grab a stack of rock. Grab a stack.